Welcome to our ISV Wednesday evening Bhagavad Gita class. So I thank everyone who are joining online and also through different media, and who will be watching also later on. Thank you for joining and encouraging with your association. So we will start our session with a bhajan kirtan written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as an acharya, he gave many instructions through the songs or poetry written by him, and these poetries are all reflective of the core philosophy of Vaishnavism. So one of these songs this song is actually coming in Kalyana Kalpataru. It's called Ore Mon Karmero Kuhore Gelo Kal. So in this song, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is actually is this song's title is Anutapa Lakshana Upalabdhi, the realization by the symptom of realization through penitence. That is the title of this official title of this song. So in this song, he's actually telling that how he has spent his whole life in unnecessary activities, and he did not actually maximize the uses of the time in his life, and what are the negative things which he had done, or like the time he spent for those things which are not conducive for devotional activities. That's what he is mentioning in this song. It's a beautiful song. Oh, please go to the top. We'll actually read from the main song itself. It says, Ore mon kormero kuhore gelo kal, স্বর্গাদি সুখের আসে পরিলাম কর্ম ফাঁসে পূর্ণ নাভি সম কর্মজল. So here it is, he's telling, oh my mind, I have spent whole my life in the illusion of fruitive activities or activities in general, the material activities. And why I have done it? Because I desired for the happiness of higher planetary systems, namely heavenly planets. And because of that, I'm tired in the noose of karma kanda, the activities, fruitive activities. And now my whole I'm inundated, completely submerged under the water or ocean of these karmakanda activities, the fruitive activities. Then he's telling upavasya brata, and he's giving the examples of different types of fruitive activities or different types of things he has done throughout his life. So he's telling upavasya brata dhori nana kaya klesho kori bhasme ঘৃত ঢালিয়া apar. So he has done a lot of austerities, or we are doing a lot of austerities while doing the fruitive activities. We do fasting, different types of yagya, sacrifice, and that gives us physical pain, right? We go through the physical pain while doing it. But this is actually like like putting ghee on ashes, which doesn't result in anything, right? When you put ghee in fire, that will make the fire go for long. But if you put ghee on ashes, which doesn't have any potency. So he's telling that by doing these activities, I have put ghee in ashes, like the clarified butter. So no result for that. মরিলাম নিজ দোষে জড় মরণেরও ফাঁসে হইবারে নারীন উদ্ধার. And I have died, or I am dying because of my own faults, and I am kind of dying because of the this material death, like the body is subject to death. So these activities are causing me actually die materially, like as a noose or as a rope strangling me, and I don't know any other way to get rid of this kind of results, or this kind of fruits of the get away from the fruits of these results, because I have actually done those kind of things which are kind of strangling me right now, to die from this material world in a very precarious way. Then he's telling বর্ণাশ্রম ধর্ম যোজি নানা দেব দেবী ভোজি মদ গর্বে কাটাইনো জীবন. I have performed Varnashrama Dharma, and because of through the Varnashrama Dharma, I actually worshipped many demigods, the Devis, like different demigods like Durga Devi, Shiva, Kartik, Ganesh, different, like all types of. And then I become very puffed up because I am a big worshipper of these demigods, and I am big receiver of their blessings. So I become puffed up. স্থির না হইল মন, না লভিল শান্তি ধন, না ভজিনু শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চরণ. But by doing this, my mind never became pacified or steady. Yeah, I never received the riches of peace in my mind. I was always disturbed. Uh, and I never actually worship the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. He's telling by Varnashram process. Even though Varnashram process is meant for worshiping Krishna, Adhapram Vidija Srishta, Varnashram, but he did not do it. He's telling it in here, or we have not done it. Yeah. Can you go down to the last paragraph? Yeah. Then he's telling, Dhik more jivane, dhik more dhanajane, dhik more borno abhimano. Like I fire upon my life, I shame upon my life, shame upon my riches, opulence, my relatives or my relations, and shame on my uh, like very like pride on my birth, my family lineage, because I was born in a very good family. That's why I was able to do these fruitive activities, varnashram ityadi. So that's why he is actually fighting upon all those things. Dhik mor kulo mane, I fight upon my family lineage. Borno means actually the caste, and then kula means actually the family lineage. And Dhik Shastra Adhyayane, I also fight upon the study of my Shastra, because the Shastra Adhyayan only gave me the noose around my neck to go deep into this material ocean rather than going upwards. Hari Bhakti Napaila Sthan, because Hari Bhakti, by doing all these things or getting all these benefits, I was not able to perform devotional service. Hari Bhakti, because in my life there is no place of Hari Bhakti. So yeah, this is kind of a summary or kind of an understanding of this song. It's a beautiful song. Let's try to sing it. It's not so easy to sing, but I'll try still. Yeah. Ore mon কর্মের কুহরে গেল কার, ওরে মন কর্মের কুহরে গেল কার, স্বর্গাদি সুখের আসে পড়িলাম ফাঁসে, স্বর্গাদি সুখের আসে পড়িলাম ফাঁসে, ভীষম কর্মজাল, ভীষম কর্মজাল, ভীষম কর্মজাল, ভীষম কর্মজাল, ওরে মন কর্মের কুহরে গেল কাল, উপবাস ব্রত ধরি নানা কায় ক্লেশ করে, উপবাস ব্রত ধরি নানা কায় ক্লেশ করি, ভস্মে ঘৃত ঢালিয়া পার, ভস্মে ঘৃত ঢালিয়া পার, ভস্মে ঘৃত ঢালিয়া পার, ভস্মে ঘৃত ঢালিয়া পার, মরিলাম নিজ দেশে জড় মরণের ফাঁসে, মরিলাম নিজ দোষে জড় মরণের ফাঁসে, হইবারে নারী নয় উদ্ধার, হইবারে নারে নয় উদ্ধার, আমি হইবারে নারী নয় উদ্ধার, হইবারে নারে নয় উদ্ধার, ওরে মন কর্মের কুহরে গেল কাল, বর্ণাশ্রম ধর্ম যদি নানা দেবা দেবী ভজে, বর্ণাশ্রম ধর্ম যজে, নানা দেবা দেবী ভজে, মদ গর্বে কাটাইনু জীবন, মদ গর্বে কাটাইনু জীবন, আমি মদ গর্বে কাটাইনু জীবন, মদ গর্বে কাটাইনু জীবন, স্থির না হইল মন, না লোভিন শান্তি ধন, স্থির না হইল মন, না লোভিন শান্তি ধন, না ভজিনু শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চরণ, আমি না ভজিনু শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চরণ, না ভজিনু শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চরণ, না ভজিনু শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চরণ। ওরে মন কর্মের কুহরে গেল কাল, দিক মোরে জীবনে, দিক মোর ধন জনে, দিক মোর জীবনে, দিক মোর ধন জনে, দিক মোর বর্ণ অভিমান, দিক মোর বর্ণ অভিমান, দিক মোর বর্ণ অভিমান, দিক মোর বর্ণ অভিমান, দিক মোর কুল মানে, দিক শাস্ত্র দিক মোর কুল মানে, দিক শাস্ত্র অধ্যয়নে, হরি ভক্তি না পাইল স্থান, হরি ভক্তি না পাইল স্থান, আমার হরি ভক্তি না পাইল স্থান, হরি ভক্তি না পাইল স্থান। ওরে মন কর্মের কুহরে গেল কাল, ওরে মন কর্মের কুহরে গেল কাল। হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে, হরে রাম হরে রাম, রাম রাম হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে, হরে রাম হরে রাম, রাম রাম হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম হরে রাম, রাম রাম হরে হরে। Hare Krishna. Sorry, actually, it was very high school song. I'm not able to sing properly. I'm not familiar with that kind of high school songs. So let's start with the Mangalacham prayer. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स पदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुश्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांतो राधा कांतो नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं, यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So Uh, before I start my presentation, I want to show my gratitude and my most respectful obeisances unto my Gurupat Padma and all the Shiksha Gurus who are encouraging me to continue devotional service, and also Srila Prabhupada, who brought this Krishna consciousness to the whole world, so that anyone and everyone can actually take this process from wherever they are, from whichever location, irrespective of their location, caste, creed, everything. He made it accessible to everyone, and all the previous acharyas who tirelessly worked through their sojourn in this material world to help us to learn the Supreme Personality of Godhead and give knowledge about Him and show by example how to actually achieve achieve perfection through that process. So, really grateful to all these acharyas who are helping us in different manner to take devotional service. So today we will actually discuss on 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, because now in ISV we are studying Chad 8th chapter. So it's a very interesting chapter. It comes on the Bhakti Shataka, where the previous chapter Krishna speaks about Jnana Vijnana Yoga, that the knowledge about the absolute truth, the relationship of the gross, subtle elements, and how everything is related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he tells like there are hope for people to cross over the material ocean, and there are different types of people who will actually, through different methods, they will reach to him. And he also gives that the process by which everyone can connect to Krishna through different activities, or through different elements of the world. Like you can actually taste water and you can think about Krishna, while even you are doing any activities, you can actually connect it to Krishna, because everything belongs to Krishna. And when we are doing an activity, it's not that we're doing activities opposite to Krishna's instruction, but according to his instructions, then it will be considered as a yoga process. It will be satisfying to him. So that are the instructions Krishna gave in 7th chapter, that okay, you even if you do procreation, if you're trying to enjoy senses, do in a way that it satisfies me, it becomes an offering to me, sacrifice to me. So that kind of instructions help people to take devotional service. And in the next chapter, after when Krishna describes these things to Arjun Maharaj, he started asking some more deeper questions. He asked actually 8 questions, or some people say 6 questions. So we'll actually read first the translation of the chapter, and then we'll discuss as much as we can to go over the chapter, like the brief understanding of the chapter. Yeah, it's a very short chapter. It has only, I think, 28 verses, so it's easy to finish. Okay, so Ashray Mother Prabhu, you can start. Maybe we can switch and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You can read first 5 verses, Prabhuji.
Chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. Verse 1, Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in the body, O Madhusudan? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities. For best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adideva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the Super Soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adiyagya, the Lord of Sacrifice. And whoever, at the end of his life, quits his body remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this, there is no doubt.
Text 6. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Therefore, Arjuna, you should also always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting with your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond his material nature. One who, at the time of death, fixes his life here between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Do you want me to read, Prabhu?
Yes, next slide, Prabhuji, please. Go ahead.
Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkar, and who are great sages in the renounced order enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and life here at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain a son of Pritha because of his constant engagement in devotional service. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection.
Text 16. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken from the duration, sorry, 1,000 ages taken together from the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Roji.
That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world the yogi does or does not come back. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god, in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back.
Text 26. According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he doesn't come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns. Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Hariyam Tat Sat. Beautiful reading, actually, the Bhagavad Gita chapters. So it's very enlightening to hear the conversation of Krishna. So Krishna Kathas are two types. One is the 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 uh, like Katha, or the pastimes of Krishna, or his activities, or his devotees' activities are same, actually, in the same platform, or the instructions of Krishna, direct instruction, just like what Krishna is speaking to Arjun Mahasaya here, or we see also in Uddhava Gita, or also in Bhagavatam, different places Krishna gave instructions to different personalities. So these are all Krishna Katha. So when we discuss about it, what happens? It actually not only destroys our material bondage, it actually situates us in the correct relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this chapter, actually, let's display the like the chapter, because I may quote some verses from here. So the first two verses, Arjun Mahasaya actually quotes to ask few questions, which are very interesting. Can you please click on the text one? Yeah. So yeah, Arjuna Uvacha, Kim Tadbrahma, Kim Adhyatmam, Kim Karma Purushottamam, Adhi Adhibhutam cha Kim Proktam, Adi Devam Kim Uchyate. Arjuna Mahasaya is asking these questions like, oh, what is meant by Brahma? Kim Tad Brahma? Kim Adhyatma? What is meant by Adhyatma? Kim Karma Purushottama? Oh, what is actually the action? Uh, and who is Purushottama? Adi Bhutam Chakim Proktam. What is Adi Bhuta? And Adi Devam Kimuchyate? And what is Adi Deva? So interestingly, we know that there are three types of sufferings in this material world. Tritap Klesha. We say Adhyatma, Adi Bhuta, and Adi Deva, right? Adhyatma is like the sufferings which are coming from the self, both bodily level and mental level. Then Adi Bhuta is actually sufferings coming from other living entities. And Adi Daiva is actually sufferings due to the calamities or due to the influence of the demigods or things which are beyond our control. So here, Arjuna Mahasaya, when he asks this question, Lord Krishna actually, and then the next verse also. Let's actually go to the next verse as well. Sorry, yeah, so that we can like summarize all the questions in one shot. Adi agya katham kotra dehe asmin madhusudana prayana kale cha katham geyosi niyatatma bhi. Oh, where is Adiyagya? What is the location of Adiyagya? In the Dehe Asmin Madhusudana. Krishna is addressed as a Madhusudana, means like killer of the demon Madhu. Dehe Asmin, where he is situated in this body, in this material world, material body, Adiyagya. And then Prayana Kalacha Katham Gyosini Atatmavi. How can I understand my eternal nature, or you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Eternal nature means the relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead when I'm dying, because it's a big thing, right? The art of death, what we are discussing here in Krishna consciousness, it's not that art of living, because living is important, but that's a byproduct. The person who knows how to die, he can live happily also, how to die properly. He is not disturbed by the material troubles. He knows actually these are all ephemeral, these will come and go. But those person who doesn't know, who doesn't have any idea what is death, and where I will go after death, or what is my destination, he will be always confused. He will do this thing, that thing, that thing. So Arjun Mahasaya has this question, like the other questions. There are like 8 questions you can categorize, or you can say 6 also. Some people, sometimes he says 6 also, but there are question inside question also. So here, these among these questions, the last question, Prayana Kalacha Katham Gyeosi Niyat Atmavi, that Lord Krishna gave a very expansive answer on that point. The other questions are like one liner. Okay, Adi Yagya. Okay, these sorry, Brahma, you are the soul, so that is indestructible, Satchidananda feature. It is eternal, it is full of knowledge, it is blissful. That is your Brahma. There are two type Brahma. Like, one is Jiva Brahma. We have a nature, qualitative nature with the Supreme Lord, as Supreme Lord, which is Satchidananda, like eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. However, Param Brahma is the absolute truth, or Krishna, who is an infinite element. We are like a very infinitesimal. So that is the difference in terms of quantity, but qualitatively we are same. Hmm. So that is Brahma. So Brahma is one, you can say, like, okay, that indestructible soul, that is actually Brahma, which separates us from the living entity, from the material body to the spiritual identity or spiritual existence. Then he says, Kim Adhyatma. What is the Adhyatma? The eternal nature of the living entity. That is the second question, right? Kim Adhyatma. So the Lord is actually Lord gives this answer actually in the verse third, Kim Adhyatma. He says that the eternal nature is that uh, the jiva, it is controlled by the different impressions. So that is actually Adhyatma. So we can see that, Adhyatic clash, which is coming from the mind and body. So this is very related to that eternal nature is actually to serve Krishna. However, we are affected by this material energy. So Krishna is telling that the Jiva soul, which is containing that original eternal nature, means like we are servant of Krishna, that is called Adhyatma. That is the primary reason of our existence. Adhyatma, why we are existing. But in these material modes of nature, we are like subject to the sufferings of mental level and bodily level. That is a kind of perverted reflection of original, identity, where there is no suffering, only experience of bliss. Then Kim Karma. What is actually karma? So karma, Krishna answers that it is actually the fruitive activities. It's just, nothing but fruitive activities. So whatever we do, yeah, go to the third verse, Prabhu. Here she says, I think Visarga, yeah. Bhuto Bhavat Bhavokaro Visarga, yeah. So action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma or footing activities, because mm, you are you have got given a body. In that body, there are some activities you are prescribed to do, like the activities of an animal body and a human body will not be same. Among the humans also, the consciousness of all humans are not same. So you are gradually upgrading, like doing the activities meant for that particular body and consciousness. And then you come to a platform where you go beyond this, this cycle of birth and death, or the actions which are binding you to this material nature, which is bhakti actually, which is next level. So then this is the answer to the karma, and then the answer to the adibhuta is the material nature. So in the beginning I said, like, adi deva, adi adhyatik, and then adibhuta. Adibhuta is external things. So here is thing Krishna is telling that the physical nature, the nature around us, the prakriti, is always changing. So that is the many material manifestation also, which is consist of 24 elements, right? Krishna gives in Sankhya philosophy the analytical study of the elements from which the creation takes place, starting from the Mahatattva, and then when Mahatattva is the unmanifested state. Sorry, Pradhan is the unmanifested state, and then manifested state is starting from Mahatattva, which interacts with the different subtle elements, like like sound, touch, form, test, and aroma, or like gandha, and then it creates different types of sense objects, like earth, water, air, fire, ether, and then also senses, gyanendriya, like eyes, ears, tongue, skin, what else? Eye, see, nose. These are the sense object, and then different types of karmendriya, like the action senses, which is uh, hands, legs, uh, tongue, then genitals, then evacuating path, like that. Yeah. So there are different types of karmendriya which helps us to perform our actions. So these are the part of adibhuta, all the material nature. And Krishna speaks already these things in the previous chapter, and then he's just give a touch about it. And then he's told Purusha. Purusha means here the Supreme Personality Godhead, the universal form of the Lord. So there is an interesting part. The universal form of the Lord and the Lord we worship, they are actually same and different. Same in the sense that universal form is only existing in this material world. So in the material world, how we can see the presence of the Supreme Lord in everywhere, that is universal form. But when we go to the spiritual world, then we don't see any universal form. There the Lord is like a very individual person. He has his own relatives, his servants, friends, parents, wives, children, everything. He's a person, and you serve in that personal relationship with the Lord, in different relationship. Maybe you're a friend, and in different loka the mood is different, but in general that is the difference between the material manifestation of universal form and the Lord in the spiritual world. So here, Purusha cha Adidevatam, like the Adideva, who is also known as the original Purush, how we can actually who is that, or how we can understand him. So Lord is saying that the universal form of the Lord, he is actually that person. And we know that in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the universal form is vividly explained, like how even the negative things we can understand, we can relate to Krishna. The interesting fact is that smartabhya satatam vishnur vismartebhyo na jatu chet sarva vidhi nishedasir etayareva kinkara. The object of understanding universal form is to see Krishna in everything. Because the material people, they don't have idea about Krishna. They just only think about that how to enjoy this the material world, or how to enjoy with the senses, like especially the karmendriya, gyanendriya. Yeah, we want to enjoy gross level or subtle level, whatever. So to give them an opportunity to upgrade their consciousness, Krishna tell, okay, when you are enjoying, think about me, that I am also the source of this enjoyment. When you're drinking water, you think like I am the test of the water. When you're doing procreation, you think like that energy is coming from me. That is, I am the source of everything. I sanction, even if when you enjoying, the Paramatma sanctions it. Otherwise, we can desire to enjoy a lot of things. Can we do it? Can we get it? No. It has to be sanctioned by Krishna. Even though we may desire, we have some free will to desire everything and anything, but Krishna has to sanction it. So Krishna is telling that the universal form is helping us to understand that position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that somehow or other we can think about him. And when we think about him, we get an interest to know about him more. And when we know about more about him, we want to actually have some kind of relationship with him, right? That is our desire. When you are very close to someone, when you know someone or think about someone very deeply, you want to be close or near to him, right? And then you want to serve him, you want to have a relationship with him, and that's how gradually it gets established, the relationship, the sambandha, the original sambandha. But in general, in summary, the one liner is that universal form is helping us to think about Krishna. Mano Krishna nivashayate. Somehow or other, engage your mind in Krishna. So that is the helping point. Yeah. And then Adi Yagya, Adi Deva, Virata Purusha. And then who is Adi Yagya? Adi Yagya is actually the Paramatma, who is actually enjoying all the sacrifices. Sacrifice doesn't mean that you are always pouring the ghee in the fire. And I was discussing it also in our Bhakti Shastri class. Sacrifice means any kind of austerity or any kind of I will say the Indriya Nigraha, like you're abstaining from your sense enjoyment. And in the fourth chapter, we see that there are different types of sacrifice. For a brahmachari, the sacrifice is sadhyay, studying shastra. For a grihastha, the sacrifice is withdrawing the sense enjoyment, because they have opportunity to do sense enjoyment, but they don't do it, right? Similarly, for other people, those who are doing Agnihatra Yagya, for them is sacrifice by offering everything to Krishna's service. There are different types of sacrifice are mentioned in in the Jnana Yoga, chapter. So this sacrifice is actually uh, uh, meant for the Paramatma, the super soul, who is staying inside our heart. So when we are withdrawing our senses, we are engaging our attention towards Him. Uh, uh, it is enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. Then He helps us, and He helps us to guide as a Chaitya Guru to go to the perfect destination. Otherwise, if you don't, like for any relationship, if there is no sacrifice, then can we express your love or your attention to that in that relationship? That's not possible. It will be just fake. It will just say that okay, he's just faking. He doesn't have any love for me, but it's just like some pretension. So sacrifice means you are doing some kind of uh, austerity or some kind of abstination for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, who is the enjoyer of that sacrifice. And when you know that in your consciousness, then Krishna will satisfy and he will allow you to do like devotional service, or he can guide you to perform it in a most severe manner. And then how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adi Agya, is known in the body, how he's actually staying, this enjoyer of the sacrifice, how he is staying there. Uh, so one thing I want to mention here, that this super soul, he doesn't enjoy the gross sense enjoyments. Like when we are eating something and we are like, oh, I'm doing good, like I'm enjoying it, it's so tasty. But when you are offering it to Krishna, before you enjoy it yourself, he is enjoying that part, your devotion, your consciousness. It's not the gross. Gross things is enjoyed. Even the soul doesn't enjoy anything. It's the senses, but the soul feels satisfied. The consciousness, it feels satisfied. Oh, I feel satisfied, or I feel good. Like they're good, bad feelings. Even though soul should be beyond it, but somehow in the material world, it is also always full of duality. Good and bad, happy and sorrow, like front and behind, like that. Everything is danda shamas, twice, duality. So soul doesn't enjoy, but the material body enjoys. But super soul, he doesn't enjoy these things. He enjoys your sacrifice, the things, the consciousness behind which you are doing your actions, and how you are controlling your sense enjoyments, how you are directing it through Krishna. It doesn't mean that the devotees or those who are practicing devotional service, they don't do any enjoyment. Actually, they are doing a real enjoyment. Now the question is like how this adhyagya is situated in the material body, in the body of a living entity. So he is telling that, Krishna is saying that as a I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being. I'm called Adi Agya. So he's saying like he is situated as the super soul of every living entity, Paramatma. Yeah. So that's what I actually, and he's situated in the heart. In the second canto, it is mentioned. Second or third canto, I cannot exactly recall. That Lord actually is form of a thumb size, and his form is Chaturbhuja Murti, 400 forms, and he's known as Janardana. So that's why when we actually do, 24 Ashmana, by chanting 24 mantras of Lord Vishnu, starting from Keshvaya, Keshvaya Namaha, Narayana Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha, Vishnuvaya Namaha, Om Madhusudanaya Namaha, Om Trivikramaya Namaha, Om Bamanaya Namaha, Om Sridharaya Namaha, Om Rishikeshaya Namaha, Om Padmanabhaya Namaha, Om Damodaraya Namaha, Om Vasudevaya Namaha, Om Sankarshanaya Namaha, Om Pradyumnaya Namaha, Aniruddhaya Namaha, Om Purushottamaya Namaha, Om Adakshajaya Namaha, Om Nrsinghaya Namaha, Om Achyutaya Namaha, Om Janardanaya Namaha, Om Upendraya Namaha, Om Haraya Namaha, Om Krishnaya Namaha. So when it says Om Janardanaya Namaha, we touch our heart. When I started doing it, I didn't notice it. And then when I was actually studying again third canto while doing Bhakti Vaibhav, I found that, oh, this is the reason, or this may be the reason. I cannot ascertain it because I didn't find Acharya speaking about it. But to my, understanding, because when we are touching the heart, why we are saying Janardhan? Because the name, the Lord who is situated as a Paramatma in the heart, he is known as Janardana. So that's why when we are touching it, we are saying Om Janardana Namo. Yes, so he is situated in the heart. The location where Adi Agya is situated, it is the heart, the Paramatma, and he is situated side by side. It is said also the soul is situated also in the heart, and Paramatma is also situated there. And then the next part of this chapter is all about how art of dying. How to remember you, Krishna, while I'm dying, dying from this material body. I'm leaving this material body because it's so difficult, right? The Yamunacharya verse is there that this Kantha Avaruddha, my voice will choke, my breath will choke, and I will have foam in my mouth. This Kapha Pitta Vayu, there's Kapha Pitta Vayu, English, I don't know, cough, air, Bata, Kapha Pitta Bata. I don't know the English of this, but just these are Ayurvedic term of the composition of this material body. Tridhatu, it's known as also Tridhatu. So he's telling that when I'm dying, uh, and also the experience of death is very severe. In Western world, we don't actually discuss about these things. These are actually taboo. We think like, okay, discussing about death is not appropriate. We want to enjoy. This body is for meant for enjoy. When the discussion of death is coming in the picture, that enjoyment will be definitely deterred, right? It will be hindered. People will not, oh, I have to die. That. But in our culture, death is a common phenomenon. When somebody dies, everybody goes for shamshan or graveyard, whatever, and they take part in the grieving process of the family. Here also people go, but it's more of a formality than remembering that thing. Like anyways, I don't want to, because there are good things about this culture also. But the point is, um, discussing about death is not very encouraged here. But in our shastra, it's all about how to die. That's what I mentioned. So Krishna is mentioning how you can actually die in a manner that you attain me, because that's the ultimate goal, right? Antakale cha mameva saran. No, that is this verse. I was trying to say like. Uh, সাধন করো ভজন করো মরতে জানলে হয়, like whatever devotional service you are doing, whatever austerities you are doing, you need to know the art of dying. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada quotes this famous Bengali phrase in his purports and his in lectures also a few times. So it's a very interesting phrase, like the ultimate goal is to know how to die. How to die in a consciousness that we can go to the spiritual world. So there's another it's a famous Bhagavatam verse. It's not actually uh, coming in my mind. Eta nirvidya mananam ichchatam akuta bhayam yoginap nipanirnitam harinamanu kirtanam. No, not that verse. There is another verse. It says like Ante Narayana Sriti. Uh, it it says like whatever activities you do, ultimately, if you can remember Narayana, then your life will be successful. Ante Narayana Sriti. I forgot the first part of the verse actually, and that's why I'm not able to give the full meaning. But that is what is spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam. So here also Lord Krishna is speaking the same thing. Anta kalisha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram yat prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra sansayah. An end of life, whoever quits this body, remembering me alone at once, attains my nature. There is no doubt. Nature means like eternal nature. Krishna's nature is what? Krishna's nature is infinite. Krishna's qualities are infinite. But it's not that we will get all Krishna's qualities eye to eye. It's not. But Krishna's the fundamental qualities, that eternally blissful, Krishna's eternal identity, and his spiritual body, that will attain also. We will have in spiritual world. Everybody has a spiritual body where there is no birth, old age, death, and disease. There is no circle of that, and there is no duality of this material nature, as I mentioned earlier. So it is completely blissful. And somebody can say like, oh, if it is completely blissful, then there is not much enjoyment, because when there is sorrow, it makes us more happy. Because then the happiness is more appreciated. So it is said that in some places it is like in Vaikuntha, there is no anxiety at all. But in some places like Golok Vrindavan or Mathura, there are false anxiety, like, oh, a demon is coming, or Krishna is attacked by someone, or Krishna is in distress, like that. There is false anxiety. It's not actually happening, but there is a false anxiety which increases their bliss, multifold, which may not be present in places like Vaikuntha planet. Like everyone is is in Shuddha Sattva completely anxiety less. But in some of the spiritual planets, if you want to go to the places where there are still anxieties, spiritual anxieties, which is actually a condensed bliss, then you go to the places where like Goloka Vrindavan and Mathura, Dwaraka, ityadi. Anyway, so Krishna is telling that, oh, you will definitely get me. That if you remember it. But as I mentioned earlier, it's not easy. Actually very difficult to remember Krishna at the time of that. And the next verse also be yad yad bhava yad yad yam yam bhavi smaran bhava tajanti ante kalevaram tam tam eva iti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kundi, that state he will attain without fail. So Srila Prabhupada, in many of his purports, he actually mentions that we should not be attached to any of the subjects of the material world. Similarly, we should not be very averse to any of the subject matters of this material world. Both are very bad, because that impression, that strong emotional impression, will come at the time of death. And I have a near death experience, so I can assure you that I could not remember Krishna, or his name did not come in my mind at that time. Like, some car hit me at the back, and I was thinking like, oh, my car actually moved 180 degree. And it was a one lane expressway, 55 miles hour per hour road, and our car had some issues with the keyless ignition, so it kind of stopped. But we had emergency light, and that person who was driving behind us, he was definitely coming more than 55, plus he was not looking at the road. So he hit us in a manner, I think last minute he tried to change our direction, so it hit the right side, right half of the car. So we had 180-degree shift. And when the car was moving, I thought like, if it goes to the other lane, which is the opposite traffic, then there is very less chance of survival. And I couldn't remember Krishna at that time. That was the like extreme near death experience I've had in my life. So I could think like, these devotional service what I am doing is not strong enough to remember Krishna at the time of death. Then what is our hope? One hope is that if we are surrounded by the devotees when we are leaving our body, that's a big like opportunity or big advantage, because even if we forget, they will make us remember by looking at them when they chant or they read something, and when they like do some devotional activities, like anything, even they looking at their face will remember some devotional activities. You will not say think about other things. So that is one thing, but however it is not guaranteed that they will be there, right? Death can come at any time. So then the other part is what? The other part is like, we need to actually depend on Guru and Krishna, because not everything can be controlled by us. We are not destined to control everything. So the hope is, when we are dependent on Guru and Krishna, uh, then they will help us. The process of surrender means you are not counting on your ability. You think first, oh, I don't have any ability. I am completely depending on you. Yes, I have tried from my side, but I don't have ability to achieve you, get the perfections. Krishna, it is you now. You decide actually what is my destination. You help me to actually go to the next phase of my life, and at least keep engage me in the devotional service. And Krishna ensures that, okay, those people who have not got perfection, they will get a better chance in the next life. So Srila Prabhupada also mentioned in the purport that at least we should try to make sure that we go get a human body in our next life. At least that is the least thing we should do, because it is impossible in other body, other living entity body, to engage in devotional service. Yeah, some accidental situations are there, but extreme fortunate situations are there, like when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in Jharkhand forest, he gave extreme devotional love to the wild animals also, right? The elephants, the tigers, the deer, everyone, they got it. But that's not normal, because their consciousness is very low. So we should at least try to do that. And then Krishna actually talks about how we can actually do it. It's so important. Actually, this point Krishna mentions in many parts. Actually, in third chapter he mentions in the 10th chapter. that you have to remember me. He mentions again in the 18th chapter that yeah. Ninth chapter also, Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakta, he also mentions there. And 10th chapter is also that Mat Chitta Mad Gata Prana Bodhayantasya Parasparam, like you are Krishna, how he helps actually. Tesham Satada Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. So he talks how to control the mind and direct it towards the Krishna. And when mind is actually directed towards Krishna, all the senses will automatically direct it toward him, because mind is considered the king of senses. Uh, Intelligence is higher than mind, but mind is someone who directs the senses, or who kind of intelligence analyzes. Intelligence analyzes bad, good, everything, right? If mind is disturbed, then it will not even reach to the intelligence level. Uh, it will take decision in the mind level only. So the satisfaction comes in the mind level. It doesn't come in the intelligence level. So the mind, if it is controlled, it is engaged in Krishna's service, then the thing will be like, there is hope for us. And the next verse, Krishna speaks about that. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha mai arpito manobuddhir mame vishvashya samsayaha. Let's actually read the purport of this verse. It's such a beautiful verse. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting with your activities dedicated to me, and your mind and intelligence fixed on me. You will attain me without doubt. Purport: this instruction to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. The Lord doesn't say that one should give up his prescribed duties or engagements. One can continue them and at the same time think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. This will free one from material contamination and engage the mind and intelligence in Krishna by chanting Krishna's names. One will be transferred to the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, without a doubt. One time, His Holiness Amal Bhakta Swami Maharaj, he at that time he was Amal Bhakta Prabhu. He gave a class in our temple, and he was talking about this point, that how we can think about Krishna in all the time, all the time. And he gave beautiful examples, like, somebody is working in the office, he is working in a laptop or in a computer, he can just keep Krishna's picture and look at the Krishna's picture time to time. Or he can put a, like, card of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and look at Hare Krishna Mahamantra's card time to time. It's non-different, even though it is difficult to understand for us because our consciousness is not that level. Sometimes that's why there's an impersonal understanding of the holy name also, but it is not different from Krishna, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So when we are looking at it, we can remember Krishna. Because in the beginning level, it's very difficult to, in the back of the mind, like when you are very attached to something, even though you don't want to remember it, it will come to your mind, right? It does come to your mind. Like if you are attached to your kid, or you are attached to your wife, he or she will come to your mind, even though you don't want, even though you are not doing it deliberately. It's just spontaneous. Similarly, in the beginning, we don't have attachment to Krishna, so the deliberate thought of Krishna may not come in our mind. However, when we keep thinking about Krishna, Shayane Shapane Nisha Jagarane, Sada Krishna Namalat, like uh, there is a verse, it's not coming to my mind. Hold on. সায়ন স্বপনে নিশা জাগরণে ভজ কৃষ্ণ বল কৃষ্ণ নাম Sharo Krishna Nam Balaho Badane, something like that. I exactly cannot recall. It seems like when you are doing any activities, when you are awake, when you are sleeping, when you are dreaming, when it is day, and when you are it is at night, all the time, Sarvada Chinta Krishna Balaho Badane. Like you remember about Krishna all the time, and talking, like chant his name also, like, or you talk about him, same thing. Do it all the time. So in the beginning, it may not be possible. So that's why the process is to start with ado seven mukha jivado smayameva spirityadaha, by controlling the tongue, the uses of tongue. So uses of tongue has two aspects. One is taking Krishna Prasada, which is very purifying to the consciousness, because you are what you eat literally. You are what you eat literally. Like if you eat very high level conscious thing, like the foods in mode of goodness, your consciousness will be goodness. You will not think like, oh, I have to fight with someone, I have to like argue with someone. You will try to avoid these things. Some people are by nature kshatriya that is there, but in general it will pacify you. That's why sometimes kshatriyas, they are encouraged to eat some passionate food also, like liquor and things like that. So that is there. And then the second thing is, when you're taking Krishna prasadam, it actually purifies not only your belly, it purifies your consciousness, the subtle level, because it is Krishna's mercy. You are not thinking like, oh, I am taking food. It's not food. It's actually Krishna's mercy in the form of food, in the form of some eatables. It's Krishna is providing us the spiritual consciousness, spiritual energies through Krishna Prasad. Of course, it is important also who is cooking it, because the consciousness of the cook comes and in the place, and Krishna's acceptance also come in the place. But as long as we are offering to Krishna and keep offering, doing that, it actually nourishes us, not in the bodily level also, it also nourishes us in the spiritual level. The second thing is jiva, the function is talking, right? The two things we do with our tongue, one is talking and one is eating, tasting food. So the talking part is very important, because our subtle consciousness is built upon the things we actually talk in our daily life. I see that when I have a very difficult day in my office. I see, even though I try to focus on some devotional activities or reading or study, I cannot do that. The mind becomes so tired, and uh, uh, the like the influence or the reaction of this ugra karma, it impacts my mind and my consciousness so much that the higher consciousness doesn't go in my heart. Like I cannot engage for a long time, or even I'm doing it, it's not very effective. But in the morning, that's why it is recommended that you do your majority devotional service before you do any other activities, material or household activities, so that you dedicate the most important time of your life or your day in the spiritual activity. So if you start chanting Krishna's name with your tongue, then the consciousness will be directly purified, and it will actually elevate to take devotional service sincerely. Because in the beginning level, maybe we won't be able to actually chant in the pure name. That's not possible, because it's a long process and it's a arduous process. But that is a hope, because acharyas are giving hope to us, that if you continue, you will actually achieve the perfection. But the point is the steadiness, how steady we are in our devotional service, that will determine our perfection. Like if we are very steady, then the path of perfection will be fast. In our congregation also, we see that some of the devotees are very sincere. They attend the Mangal Arati every day in the temple, chant 16 rounds in one shot, and they dedicate their full attention to that 4 or 5 hours of the day. So you can understand that how much they are progressing in their devotional service. I'm personally very encouraged, even though I'm not doing that level of devotional service, but I feel a lot of encouragement by seeing those devotees doing so sincere devotional service. So that is there, that by engaging the tongue in this kind of two service, and then when we are engaging this service, the tongue in this service, then in the back of the mind, the spontaneously thought of Krishna will come in our mind, because it is said that vipada naiva vipada, sampada naiva sampada, vipada vismritihi Krishna, sampada Narayana sritihi. Vipada vismritihi Vishnu, and sampada Narayana sritihi. So it is said that danger is not danger, opulence or success is not success. What is danger? Danger is actually forgetting of Lord Vishnu. What is sampad? What is success? Success is remembering Lord Narayan. Actually, Narayan and Vishnu are interchangeable. So that is our success. It's not that, oh, we become successful materially. Yeah, that is good. It is there in our karma, in our, fate, or Krishna permitted that kind of success in our life, and we should be grateful for that. But that is not ultimate thing. That's what I wanted to say. Oh, go to the next verse. Also, it's very interesting verse. It's actually a continuation of this verse. Yeah. Now Krishna is telling how we can do it, which he repeats also in the sixth chapter, where Arjun Mahasaya actually asks this question, that his mind is so turbulent, so impudent, he doesn't want to hear me. What is that verse? Vayureva Suduskaraha, Chanchala hi manaha Krishna, Pramati hi balabadridham, Tasmad nirgaham manye, Vayureva Suduskara. Are Bapre Bap, it's so difficult to control this mind. I can control air, because he's so big and warrior. Definitely he could control air, but I cannot control my mind. It can go here and there. It's chanchala. It doesn't stay in one place. It's very unsteady. Uh, um, so how can I do that? And then Krishna speaks in the next verse. That asamsaya mahabaho mana durnigraham chalam cha. Abhyasena tu konteya vairagyam yuktaye. Means, yes, Arjuna, Mahabaho Arjuna, you are right. It is very difficult to control mind. However, you can practice Abhyasa Yoga, steadiness in your devotional service, and Vairagya, the detachment. Should not be too much attached to what you do. You should actually like do in a manner that you are not like entangled too much. But I cannot say that for myself, because sometimes when I give too much effort in my activities and I don't get result, I get disappointed, so I'm attached. But that is Krishna's instruction, that you don't become so much attached that you are affected by the result of your actions. Okay, so here also Krishna is giving same thing. Avyasa yoga yuktena cheto sananyogamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthanuchintayan. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path. He, O Partha, is sure to reach me. So the important part is Avyasa Yoga. Abhyas, the constant engagement or constant practice, which Krishna also is big in the sixth chapter, which I quoted just now. Let's read the purport of this also, because it's a very, very beautiful point. Yeah. Oh, you read actually purport, because you have been silent for a long time.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, Lord Krishna stresses the importance of remembering him. One's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and mind are engaged. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. Purusham means enjoyer. Although living entities belong to the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, they are in material contamination. They think themselves enjoyers, but they are not the Supreme Enjoyer. Here it is clearly stated that the Supreme Enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different manifestations and plenary expansions as Narayan, Vasudev, etc. The devotee can constantly think of the object of worship, the Supreme Lord, in any of his features, Narayan, Krishna, Rama, etc., by chanting Hare Krishna. This practice will purify him, and at the end of his life, due to his constant chanting, he will be transferred to the kingdom of God. Yoga practice is meditation on the super soul within. Similarly, by chanting Hare Krishna, one fixes his mind always on the Supreme Lord. The mind is fickle, and therefore it is necessary to engage the mind by force to think of Krishna. One example often given is that of the caterpillar that thinks of becoming a butterfly and so is transformed into a butterfly in the same life. Similarly, if we constantly think of Krishna, it is certain that at the end of our lives, we shall have the same bodily constitution as Krishna.
Thank you, Bhu. So here you see that there is a very interesting sentence at the last line. Similarly, if we constantly think of Krishna, it is certain that at the end of our lives, we shall have the same bodily constitution as Krishna. Doesn't mean like we have to leave this body, the same kind of bodily constitution of the love as Krishna. So this is actually spoken by Srila Sanatana Goswami. This line reminded me that verse where he says that Krishna Bhakti Sudha Panat deho dahika vishrite tesham panchbhutiki dehopi sarva Satchidananda Rupata. Sorry, verses are not coming today. Mind is a little tired. Anyway, so it says, who has drank the nectar of devotional service of Krishna, Krishna Bhakti Sudapana, Deho Dahika Vishrita, he is completely oblivion of his material body and also his like soulful existence. He's completely oblivious to that thing. Like, he thinks like he has an eternal existence with Krishna in this spiritual planet. Teshang Panchabhutiki Devapi, even though he possesses a body made of 5 gross elements, Satchidananda Rupata, it attains the platform of Satchidananda. That's why when a Acharya lives this or unmanifests his material pastimes, we don't actually destroy or burn their body. We beauty them because their body is just like a mandir. It is in this place of spiritual, uh, like tirtha. It's a place of tirtha because it can purify everyone. And that's why when we go to dham, we see the deities, that's fine, but most importantly, we should also pay respect to the acharyas who are eternally present in that dham, because these acharyas they empower us to take the process, and we get the inspiration to perform devotional service to the acharyas. They show us the path, they encourage us. The whole impetus to take devotional service seriously comes by worshipping the acharyas, not by worshipping the Supreme Lord. Yeah, that is there, but Krishna is less merciful. That the bottom line is Krishna is not that much merciful. Even if we do worship towards him directly, it may not be that effective. He may not notice, but somebody recommends Krishna. Oh, Krishna, this person is, when Srila Prabhupada recommends, or our Guru recommends that Krishna, he is trying to worship you sincerely. Please accept him as your servant. Then he actually notices us more sincerely, and we see. I will close my class by remembering Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's that famous verse, famous poetry, which is the preface of Saranagati songs. So when he wrote Saranagati songs about different types of Saranagati, Anukalyasa, Sankalpam, Pratikalyasa, Varjanam, Rakshasyati, Vishwasa, Goptrite, Varnam, Tatha, Atmanishapa, Karpanyam, Sarvida, Saranagata. The 6 types of Saranagati, when he writes many songs, like under each category of Saranagati, the first song, which is the preface of all Saranagati songs, where he says that Kandiya রূপ সনাতন পদে দন্তে তৃণ করি ভকতু বিনোদ পরে দুহু পদ ধরি, catching a straw in between the teeth, Bhakti Vinod actually falls flat at the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. This is the mood of extreme humility. Like when you show your extreme humility externally or physically, you actually grasp straw in between your teeth and you fall flat unto the person whom you're showing the humility. ভকত বিনোদী পরে দুহু পদ ধরি, catching their lotus feet, কাঁদিয়া কাঁদিয়া বলে আমি তো অধম, শেখায় শরণগতি কর হয়ে উত্তম. By in a crying mood, cryingly he tells them that I am very down, I am very wretched, I am very fallen. Please show me or teach me the process of Sharanagati, surrender, and make me the highest, Uttama. Because Krishna, he is a subject matter of Uttama Purusha. Uttama, he is known as, he is the only Uttama Purusha actually. He is the only Uttama Purusha. Even in Sanskrit Bengali grammar, that is called Uttama Purusha means I, Madhyama Purusha means you, and Titiya Purusha means third person, single third person actually. They, you, they, he, she, ityadi. So actually, Uttam Purush is only Krishna. I means it's not Aham. I means I am Krishna's. So everything is actually related to Krishna. That is Uttama Purush. So, and he is also known as Uttama Shloka because he is offered everything Uttama, the best thing. So he's telling, if I am not Uttama, how can I be offered to Krishna? How can I serve Krishna? He doesn't deal with anything lower than Uttama. So this should be our mood. Like the devotees, the acharyas, when we are worshiping them, I'm a little bit studying on this subject matter, which I'm preparing for some presentation, and it just came in my mind that how the acharyas can empower us to actually purify our consciousness and go beyond the bodily level and serve Krishna in a manner where he accepts our service directly. That's the ultimate goal, right? It can be in this material world also. Because the acharyas show how you can actually serve Krishna directly in this material world also. We are not in that platform, but if we follow the instructions of previous acharyas, definitely we can get success and perfection. Thank you. I'm sorry that my presentation is very like ups and downs, and I was not able to articulate properly in some places. So I beg your pardon, forgiveness for that. And if I have spoken something which is against the principle of our Acharya's teachings, please forgive me. The conditioned souls, there can be something which I'm trying to add from my own intelligence. It can be not in line with the Acharya's teaching. So I ask for forgiveness. Yeah, please accept what is actually taught by the Acharyas and Srila Prabhupada and Guru Vargas. Thank you, Hare Krishna. I don't think any question or comment is there right now. I see. Do you see anything?
Let me check online if there are any comments.
Okay.
Okay. YouTube, there are no comments, but let's check the Facebook. Okay. Okay, I think one Mataji is just saying in Bengali, Hare Krishna, Iradavi Mandal. Mataji. I think one Mataji is just saying in Bengali, Hare Krishna, Iradavi Mandal. Mataji. I think one Mataji is just, sorry. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So there are no comments, but
Okay.
someone is just saying Hare Krishna, like that.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very, and you pointed it out correctly. Out of all those things Arjuna is asking, that is actually the ultimate, the main question, right? How can you remember Krishna when you leave this body?
Mm.
Because Prabhupada says that when you leave this body, at that time it is like, you one scorpion. I got never bitten by, but once I got bitten by, that centipede, very small one.
Yes.
But they look like, has lot of legs, small legs, around I think 4 5 centimeter long, right? It
Mm.
was so painful. So one scorpion, and then Prabhupada says that 1,000 scorpions biting.
Yes, correct. 1,000. Yes,
So
correct.
at that time, only thing to do is like Uri Bapri, that is what will come out from your mouth, not Krishna.
That will come in mind, Prabhu, not from your Baki yantra, because that will be already inactive. But you will feel the pain. That's the point. Like you will feel the pain, but your senses will not be working. Only the ear will be working at till the last point.
Yeah.
Other things will be gone. Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I remember the verse, Prabhu. It says, শয়নে স্বপনে নিশা জাগরণে অহর নিশ্চিন্ত কৃষ্ণ বল হয় বদনে। হ্যাঁ, শয়নে স্বপনে কি বা নিশা জাগরণে অহর নিশ্চিন্ত কৃষ্ণ বল হয় বদনে। Like whether you were awake, whether you were sleeping, whether you were dreaming, whether you were awake at night, all the time remember Krishna and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or talk about Krishna with your mouth. Yeah. Beautiful, actually, poem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's yeah. It's difficult actually because we try, we see that so many things are coming in mind when it's coming when is the question of thinking about Krishna. Yeah, I feel like yeah, only time when we are doing devotional service in the morning, I think that is helping. But the other times, if I want to remember Krishna now, something or other will come in my mind for sure. Whatever I have done throughout my day. But in the morning time only, actually, that's so powerful time, the Brahma Muhurta time, or immediately before the sunrise, that so conducive that if you try to meditate on Krishna or focus on your chanting, it is possible only at that time. The other times it's just filling the gap.
Yeah. Yeah. Prabhupada
So
actually in the purport in one of I forgot in I think Bhagavatam purport only he's saying that the factory work, right? It's actually demoniac work, mass producing so many things and always dealing with machines. And I mean, our even our tech work is also like that only. It is
empty.
basically just little bit more polished, maybe not like factories, but it is still demoniac. Like deadlines, 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 and all the time testing. 99.99999 you have to achieve, right? Six Sigma and all that. So it's like there's so much of metrics and numbers, and yeah, it is basically. Uh, Ugra karma. So after that, like at by 6 o'clock, when you are done, you are done basically. You don't have any energy left basically at that time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's why I encourage devotees to at least do some kind of devotional service in the morning,
Hmm.
at least 15 to
Amount, yeah.
half an hour, if possible. First thing you do is devotional service other than other things. Even if you cannot take shower, that is fine, because Lord Chaitanya said, like, Etadrishi tava kripa like, Nam namakari bahuda niju sarva shakti statrar pita niyamita smarana kalena. There is no time, there is no rules, regulations, plus circumstances while chanting the holy name.
Yeah.
So that is the best thing. So we can at least think about how to do some service,
Hmm.
because some service needs shower, especially if you're doing worship. But chanting you can do even or reading Bhagavad Gita, a chapter, you can do it in the morning itself, and then you can start your day like at least half an hour if your schedule is very difficult. That is really helpful. I try to do at least something in the morning, if not everything. And that's why I was telling that I'm encouraged to see the devotees dedicating 4 5 hours in the morning, uh, the most quality time of the day they are dedicating for devotional services. So encouraging to see. And yeah, and their steadiness, they're doing not only one day, they're doing every day that thing. So it's very very helpful, yeah, for them and
Yeah.
for us also.
And I think in Chaitanya Charitamrita that the Jiva Seva, right? The Prasad Seva. So Mahaprabhu is bringing prasad to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He just now getting up from the bed. He has
Correct.
not taken bath, nothing. And then he quotes a verse. I'm forgetting the verse.
Uh,
He says
uh,
that I can take prasad now. I don't have to
correct,
purify myself because this
correct.
will purify me. The
Uh,
prasad itself, Jagannath prasad will purify me.
mm,
I don't have
yeah,
to take that.
the verses actually last line says prapto matrena bhuktabhya, means
Hmm.
like as soon as you receive you should honor it.
Immediately.
So he got two
Not
verses
like
actually.
I will let me take bath and then I will honor. No, you can honor.
Yes, yes, yes. So that's one other thing, because sometimes we make it like very big ritualistic and it kind of takes down our energy.
Hmm.
But if we start and then we try to improve it, that will be helpful. But if we cannot start at any time because it's so overwhelming, oh, he's
Hmm.
doing 4 hours, where is my 4 hours? And so many commitments, that is a little discouraging. So you have to start at something and then work on improving it. Like I see devotees who have same kind of life situation as me, but they're doing so much, sincere devotional service. So I get encouragement from them. Like time to
Hmm.
time, I talk to them about how they're managing everything. So you can also talk about with the devotees who encourages you to do sincere devotional service, and that's how you can give encouragement. It should not be something like an impractical thing, because Krishna consciousness is not dependent on your external situation.
Hmm.
Rather, sometimes if external situation is difficult, then your progress is faster. Like
Yeah.
for yeah, for many devotees, I hear that they become more like sincere. Internally, they are more surrendered to Krishna than more conducive environment. Like you just think, oh, it's a part of my life. I don't take it granted. I don't give that value what it deserves. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That is true. Like Maharani says, right, to Krishna,
Correct. Yeah. So yeah,
give me
what
more
we can.
problems,
Yes,
but
yeah.
you
When
remain with us.
Vipata Shantata Shashvat Tatra Tatra Jagadguru Bhavada Darshana Syat Na Apunar Darshanam. Yes, so that is there, but that is an extreme pair. In fact,
That is, they are Mahabhagavatas basically.
yeah,
They are
because
different. We don't want to do that.
in the morning we don't say like, oh, everything bad comes to me. We say like,
Mm.
oh, Shwasti Shwasti Shivamangale Keshavan
Yeah,
Sri
yeah, yeah.
Krishna Sachidananda Ghana Sarveshwara Shwara Dadato. Oh Lord Krishna, who is Sachidananda Sarveshwara Ishwara. He is the
Mm.
Ishwara of Sarva Ishwara. Please be auspiciousness in everywhere.
Mm.
Yeah, so that is there, but yeah, at some point of time we'll see that okay, these vipada and sampada are not actually that I quoted, right? That actually vipada is when we are forgetting Krishna.
Mm.
Actually, sampada is when you're remembering Krishna. Yeah, so these are the two contradictory parts. Anyways, yeah, it was always nice to have a conversation about Krishna and in the association of Ashram Mother Prabhu, because he's also very learned, a very sincere devotee. And thank you for the devotees who joined from different platform or who will be joining later on. We will actually conclude our program now, chanting few times Hare Krishna Mahamantra, preceded by Srila Prabhupada Pranam Mantra and Panchatattva Mantra. नमोऽयं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम हरे हरे वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील भगवद गीता की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
प्राण प्रभु की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय,
गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि
की
बोल।
जय. Thank you, devotees. We have 1 minute left, but I think we are done for today. So it was a great lecture from Koladwip Pran Prabhu. And thank you all for joining and from taking time from your busy lives and joining on this business the Wednesday online session. We'll see you again next Wednesday. Hare Krishna.